You can be what you want to be. Be what you want to be. You just be what you want to be with me.
Welcome to another episode of Happy AF. My name is Sambowker. I am your host and I'm super excited to have you here with me today. And guess what, people? This is episode 20. And oh my God, like I didn't even realize it was episode 20 until I was going through some of my past recordings today. And my team have actually numbered everything for me because, I hadn't really paid attention to that. And I was like, oh my God, this is the 20th episode. Like I have been doing this now for 20 weeks. Like that's almost half a year. And you might not realize how profound that is, but I just wanted to share with you that is a massive achievement. And so I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it and I'm going to tell you why it's a massive achievement for me and why I'm going to celebrate it with you and share with you, I guess, the importance of celebrating your little wins along the way. So I had a dream, a long time ago that I wanted to start a little show, be it a podcast or a show. I kind of like video because I like being able to, I feel like I'm a visual person. So I like audio and I like driving in the car and listening to audio. But even when I'm at the gym, if I'm listening to a podcast, my favorite podcasters are the ones that do a video. So I kind of like a video, a vlog, a vlog pod, right? I like to be able to see and I like to be able to see what's going on. And so for me, I always wanted to do this, right? And so a long time ago, and I'm saying probably now, I want to say it's probably about 4 years ago, maybe even longer, I started a YouTube channel, okay? And my only intention of this YouTube channel was that I wanted to have a show, but I also knew that I needed to get better at talking to camera, right? And I knew, the only way to get confident at something, guys, is to actually go and do it. Confidence is a skill like anything. You have to go out and you have to try and you have to, practice your craft. Now, people can have natural confidence in certain areas of their life. That can be their natural skill set. But it doesn't matter how naturally gifted you are or how naturally charismatic you are, talking to camera and being as fabulous on camera as you are face to face with a person, that takes practice, okay? Because it's weird. Like I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this little thing and I can't see you and I can't feed off your energy and I can't, there's no personality in it, right? And so it's a scary thing. And so a long time ago, as I said, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I did my first little crack at it, right? And back then, the way I did it was that I was like, okay, I don't even really know what I want to say right now, but I'm really loving these podcasts and these vlogs that I'm watching. So I'm going to watch them and then I'm just going to kind of review them, right? And so I started doing that, right? I watched my first one and my first one was on a guy called the Iron Cowboy. Now, this guy was a crazy mofo, right? This dude did 50 Ironmans in 50 days in 50 different states in America. Now, to just put that into context for you, right? To put that into context, these events, if you are an absolute athlete, the best time you're probably going to do is around 13 to 14 hours per event. He did them back to back, where he was traveling to different states overnight and then doing another event the next day. And he did 50 over 50 days. And his average time was about 17 hours. Now, you ever think about that? That's kind of insane. Like that is seriously insane territory. And if you put those numbers together, we're talking the guy was finishing the event and pretty much getting in his car and then driving to the next town, which could be thousands of kilometers away, and then starting another event, right? And you would pretty much think that that was an impossible thing to do. Yet he did it. And when you listen to his story, and I highly recommend if you haven't checked him out, Iron Cowboy, just Google Iron Cowboy and you'll see who he is. He did it because he wanted to, he essentially wanted to sort of see what he could overcome, right, to achieve something. He wanted to hack his brain. Now, he'd done his training, he'd done all of that stuff, but it was also back in the time when I believe the GFC had hit. He'd lost a lot of money. I think he was in the financial game, and he really knew he needed to reset his life. So he went and he trained and he trained and he lifted weights, and people were like, "You're crazy. You shouldn't be lifting weights. You're in a marathon, it's a marathon. You need to be light and spindly." But he knew he needed the endurance to be able to achieve this ridiculous, like totally unachievable thing. I mean, to do 50 Ironmans, to do one is insane. To do 50 is insane. To do 50 in 50 days in 50 different states, that's like superhuman. Like that stuff doesn't happen. Like that's Marvel character type stuff. But what he said was that halfway through this event, okay, halfway through, so 25 in, was when he found his stride. And it was when he realized that it wasn't so much his body that had to make it through, it was his mind, because his body would have given up long before. But his mind just kept saying, pain does not equal stop. We are going to keep moving forward. We are going to keep doing this. We are not going to stop. Now, why am I telling you this story? Well, the first time that I did my little video log, right? I'm not even sure if it's still on my YouTube channel. I think I probably took it down. But you know what? I probably might go and put it back up just as an example of how far I've come, right? And the reason I want to share this story with you is that I knew I had an idea. I had a vision. I didn't really know what it looked like. All I knew was that I wanted to do the work that I was already doing on a bigger scale. And my mind said, right, the way to do that is you need to get good on camera. You need to be able to get out there and speak to people on scale. The best way to do that is on camera. You need a YouTube channel. That's what my brain said. And I went out there and I just tried. Okay. But here's what happened. I did my first show. Okay. And I made maybe another 2 or 3 after that, maybe 4, I'm not sure. But I made the fatal mistake, okay? Now, for all you creatives out there that are ever considering doing something like this, I just want you to understand something. Don't go back and watch your stuff, right? If you have a good friend or someone that you respect that can give you feedback, get them to watch it for you. Because what I did was I went back and critiqued myself. And guess what, people? We are going to be our own toughest critic. So I looked at myself and I was like, oh my God, your nose looks too big. Oh my God, your teeth aren't wide enough. Oh my God, you're not looking at the camera. Oh, you look so late. Like I went to town on myself. Now, was it good? No, not really. But hey, I'd never really spoken to camera. And like I said, there is a craft in talking to a camera. That's why they talk about Marilyn Monroe. They used to say she made love to the camera, which is an insane concept, but that's what that woman did. I mean, when she talked and did anything to a camera, you felt like she was talking to you. And there is a skill in that. And it's not something that everybody has naturally. She definitely had it naturally, but for most other mere mortals, we have to work at that. So the reason that I want to share this with you is that today's episode is all about progress, not perfection, right? You can't have both. And yes, I am a recovering perfectionist, and I know a lot of my little mindset warriors out there and all the people that follow me, you are just like me. You are perfectionists, right? And the thing is that perfection is one of those things that I used to wear with a badge of honor. I used to be like, yeah, I'm a perfectionist. Yes, I'm a perfectionist. I'm such a perfectionist. And I used to think that that was kind of like something worth holding high and being really proud of. But what that was actually code for is, you know what? I am so afraid of being rejected. I am so afraid of being not liked, not loved, not accepted. I am so afraid of not belonging that I will not do anything, and I mean anything, until I am 100% unequivocally certain that it will be perfect. And then I will, shield myself from harsh critics. I will shield myself from failure. I will shield myself from being, rejected. I will shield myself from all of the pains and hurts that come from not being liked and loved and accepted. Can anyone relate to that? Can anyone understand what it feels like to be so afraid of not being liked, not being loved, not being accepted by their peers, that they think to themselves, if I just do it perfect, then I will minimize the likelihood of people shunning me and letting go of me and not loving me and not accepting me. So the reason I guess I'm telling you this story today is for me to get to episode 20. I have had to go through a lot in terms of my own self-belief, my own inner critic, my part of me that says, oh my God, who do you think you are? You've got nothing good to say. There's people out there with way more resources and intellect that are prettier, that are smarter, that have got more people following them on social media, all of this stuff. Like, who are you to go out there and tell people anything? Like, well, who do you think you are, right? And I want you to know that I have that inner critic just like you. It is there always, it is consistent, it always shows up. But in my mind, I set this plan in place 4 or 5 years ago. And this is the first time that I have actually followed through consistently for 20 weeks in a row. And so I really wanted to share that with you because I think so many of us want to do things in this world. And we tell ourselves a story that we will start when we get more education, when we get more resources, when we get more insights, when we understand more, when we get another certification, when someone tells us it's good. And the reality is that whatever that thing is that you're holding on to right now, and I know you know what I'm talking about. If you watch this show, if you listen to this podcast, whatever it is for you, I know that you want more for your life. The show's called Happy AF. It's not kind of a bit happy. It's not let's do a bit of happiness. It's happy as fuck, right? That's what it means for me. And so if you want more, then you have to pay the price, which means you have to let go of perfection, because perfection is the birthplace of anxiety and it will stop you every single time. Instead, I want you to start embracing progress. Now, is this show perfect? Hell to the no, right? Do I have it? Is it streamlined? Is it all neat and tidy? No. Do I hope one day it will be more streamlined and more neat and tidy? Maybe that's the path I'll go. Or maybe I'll just keep jumping on and rambling for half an hour and hopefully giving you some insights and awarenesses. I don't know at this point, and it doesn't matter, right? Because if I didn't start this show until it was perfect, you would never, ever see it. I know this because for many years I've wanted to do things and I haven't done them because they weren't perfect. Now, this morning, my little girl, she didn't realize, but I said to her, babe, we've got to be, I've got to get you on the bus. I've got to get you on time because I'm doing my show at 8:30. And she goes, your show? And I said, yeah, I'm doing my show at 8:30. And she goes, what, live? And I said, yeah, I'm doing my live show. And she goes, wow, that's really cool, Mum. You've got a live show. And I said, yeah, it's called Happy AF. I said, check this out. I've got an app. And look, here's the last 19 episodes. And I showed it to her. And she's like, Mum, that's seriously cool. Oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, that is seriously cool, isn't it? Right? Now my kid is 10. It's been going on for 20 weeks. She still didn't know about it, right? And then she looks at it. And the first thing she did was she looked at it and she goes, Mum, I think you need a better camera. The picture's not as good. You all look a bit pixelated. It's not as good as it could be. My little perfectionist. Yes, she is my daughter. So of course, that's what she's going to see. Now, years ago, had I received feedback like that from someone that I loved, it would have crushed me. I would have been devastated, right? Because the person typically that would have ever given me that feedback was my dad, right? Who is my best friend. He's my major mentor. He's taught me so many things and I absolutely worship him. He is also a perfectionist, right? Yes, it runs in the family. But the thing is that he would give me that feedback and he would give it to me because he wants me to be better, right? Good, better, best. Never rest until your good is better and your better is best. That is the mantra I grew up with and I love it. But it also caused that perfection, right? And so what's funny is for years, my dad would give me feedback and from a place of love, just like I give my daughter feedback, and I would resist it because I would make up a story, right? I want you to get this. I would make up a story that what he was actually saying is that I wasn't good enough, that it was terrible, that it was rubbish. He wasn't saying that. He was saying it's really great and it would be even better if, right? But I chose a story that made me look shit, right? I crushed myself. So this morning when my little girl gave me that feedback, I'm proud to say I was able to go, you know what, Belle, I have got a new camera. You still don't think it's good enough? And she went, no, Mum, I think you need a better camera. And because I really respect her feedback, I get to now go, okay, well, all right, well, we're 20 episodes in. Maybe we need to now up level our game. Maybe we need a better camera. The camera I've got is obviously not good enough. Maybe I need to set this up better. And I was able to take that feedback and not make it mean that everything that I had done was rubbish. I was able to go, okay, well, it's not that what I've done is rubbish. It's just that it would be even better if, right? And I want to constantly strive for progress. I want to constantly get better. And the only way to get better is to be open to feedback by people that you respect. Well, I definitely respect my daughter, and she's all over this tech thing. So if she tells me that the camera's not good enough, I'm listening. I'm going to figure out how I can get a better resolution, right? But I don't make it mean that I'm rubbish. So I really want you to get that, okay? Because here's the thing, that perfection that we all run around with, and we all have it, we all care about being liked and loved and accepted. That's just our inbuilt, mammal system. That's nothing special. It's not unique. And in fact, it's incredibly boring and soul destroying because it stops you from taking action. So the people that for years I would look at and say, oh my God, like seriously. And I was the biggest critic. I would look at people posting on social media and go, oh my God, look at all the grammar. Look at all the punctuation issues. Oh, like that photo is terrible. Biggest critic, right? And those of you that are out there that are hypercritical of everybody else, understand this. When you are criticizing and judging the shit out of everybody else, the person you judge and criticize the most is yourself. And it stops you. So every time you catch yourself judging and going into that space, just ask yourself, is this judgment serving me? Or is it serving me to stay stuck? Right? Is it serving me to move forward to where I want to go? Or is it serving me to stay stuck? Because it's just a pattern, okay? Perfection is just a pattern. It's not who you are. It's a pattern you created a long time ago as a coping mechanism and as a way of, doing life, right? As a way of surviving. And we are hardwired as humans. We don't like change. We don't like to not be loved and accepted. We go into a space of fear and we don't like anything that's completely different, right? So even if we are really, really uncomfortable, we will stay where we are versus going to a place that is unknown. Now, just on that note, right? We are so afraid of the unknown that we will stay in a shit situation. And it was interesting. I was watching last night an episode of 1883. And if you loved Yellowstone as much as I did, it's the prequel to how they all came about. So if you know what I'm talking about, great. If you don't, ignore this, but just get the message, right? And there was a black sheriff and he was talking to the white lead character, okay? And the white lead character says, I don't understand, people that the fear of the unknown is, scarier than, staying in an uncomfortable situation. And the black guy says, well, I tell you what, if you've been flogged, right? If you've been whipped and you've had the skin off your back, trust me when I tell you, you will be less afraid of the unknown than you are of the known, right? And the white guy kind of sat there and went, oh, and he put it into context and it made perfect sense for me because if your current reality is so freaking scary, right? If it has been so horrific and so traumatic, the unknown is not scary for you because you're like, damn, it can't be worse than it is here. But if your current reality is not horrific, but not great, then the unknown will always be that scary AF place that maybe you don't want to go to. And that really put it into context for me because I've always been a person that will take action and ask questions later. However, having said that, even though I have that kind of courage and I'll jump forward, I still will jump forward and then I will scurry backwards. And I'll jump forward and then I'll scurry backwards, because as much as I pride myself on being courageous, I also know that that voice creeps in, and I really have to work hard to not listen to it, right? And every single week when I do this show is a perfect example, right? Because I went through and I was looking at the other episodes and I was like, wow, we've covered some stuff here. And I was like, wow, I haven't even talked about perfection yet. Are you kidding me? This is like the number one, thing that stalls people from moving forward. It's the number one thing that is going to steal your happiness. If you are that person that's a perfectionist, it is the number one thing that's going to halt you and stop you from moving forward. So at episode 20, it's time we had a little conversation about it. So I want you to have a look in your life, and I want you to ask yourself, where does perfection show up and stop you from progressing forward? Right? What is that thing in your life that you would love to do that you don't do because it's not perfect yet? What if you could let go of that? What would change? What risks would you take? Would you start a new business? Would you leave a job that's not serving you? Would you leave a relationship that's run its course? Where does perfection show up and impact you in a way that you just basically don't take the actions that are required to get to where you want to go? It's food for thought, guys, because I promise you, once I let go of the fact that perfect really is, it's like a holiday destination. You get to visit, you have moments of perfection where you feel so in flow and it's so epic and it's so awesome and it's a place you get to visit, but you cannot stay there. It's not sustainable, so it cannot be the goal, but progress can, right? And for you to progress, the first thing that you have to be clear on is, what is your vision? Where are you going, right? What are you trying to achieve? Now, if your vision is not clear, please type in #vision in the bottom of the comments section here, and I will hook you up with a ticket to my next workshop, Abundance, Prosperity, and Clarity Unleashed, because it is my mission, okay? It is my soul's purpose to wake up as many people as I can and get them living their life happy AF. And you cannot live your life happy AF if you don't get clear on your vision. If you don't know where you're going, then any road will take you there. But the thing is that road will never get you to where you want to go, and you'll get what you get. You can't get upset, but you will be upset. You'll be disappointed. You'll be frustrated. And what that actually looks like is anxiety or depression, or you might drink a bit too much wine, or you might eat a bit too much food, or you might, stay in relationships that don't serve you. So I am so committed to this vision for helping people wake up and become happy. And happy is progress. Happy is not perfection. Happy is getting clear on what matters to you, getting clear on your values, getting clear on the things that you want. So I'm going to finish up today with just sharing a quick story about something I noticed last night. So I have been single now, right? For I'm going to say about 8 years. And I always, for that 8 years, I was happy being single. The first 4 years of that, I was very much right. I'm going to build my business. And when I build my business, then I will have a relationship. And then once I built my business, I was like, well, once my daughter was a little bit older, right? And I just kept making excuses. And then we're 8 years on now. And in the last kind of 12 months, I'm like, okay, I'm going to find a beautiful man to share my life with, right? And so I've created vision boards, and I've really put intention and focus on the things that I want. One is a relationship. One is time away to rest and relax and do self-care. One is holidays to be spent with my daughter. So all of these things, okay, all of these things that I really, really want to do, I put them on my vision board. And I had a look last night. Now, am I in a relationship? No, I've started dating, and I've definitely got my hat in the ring, and I've met someone really beautiful, and it's looking really promising. I don't know where it will go, it doesn't matter. But what I do know is that in terms of the things that I said I was looking for in a partner, so far, this guy shows up and has those things. So I'm excited, right? And you know why I know he has those things? Because I got clear about what I wanted, right? In images, I wrote things down, like, and not just like, has to have this, has to have that. I'm talking like soul connected stuff. I became clear. And then I looked at going on snowboarding trips and going on holidays, all of these different things. And when I looked at my board last night, I realized that every single thing that is on there, I pretty much have either organized, is coming, am ready to do. It's all happening, right? And it all started with my vision. Now, this particular vision board's a couple of years old, but it all started with me getting clear in my mind in the areas of my life that matter. So I really encourage you to just sit back and look at your life right now and ask yourself, where are you at? And if you want help to get a bit of clarity around your health and your wealth and your relationships and your, finances and career and all the things that really matter, then come along to one of my workshops, because I promise you, after 3 hours, you will have so much clarity around what you want, where you are right now, what you need to do to change it, and you will have some resources and skills to fast track yourself there. You will have a roadmap, right? So if you're interested and you want to know more, just type in #vision and I will hook you up. I will send out a free ticket to you for my next workshop. I'd love to have you come along. But on that note, I'm going to finish up and I'm just going to remind you, progress, not perfection. Let go of perfection, people. I promise you, if you can let go of perfection, life as you know it will never be the same again. You will start taking action, you will start moving forward, and you will then, only then, will you start to live your life happy AF. My name's Sam Bowker. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And who do you know who could do with like seeing this or hearing this show? Share, get them involved in the group. All right, guys. I love you. Take care. Bye.
You just be what you wanna be with me.